All right, so Sarah says so at least one school seeks to foster a habit of volunteering in their students by requiring them to perform community service. So there's at least one school that tries to get people to volunteer by requiring them to do community service. But since a person who has been forced to do something has not really volunteered, and since the habit of volunteering cannot be said to have been fostered in a person who has not yet volunteered for anything, there is no way this policy can succeed by itself. All right, so what Sarah's saying makes sense. Like, hey, essentially, like you're forcing them to volunteer. So that's really not volunteering. And so her conclusion is there is no way this policy can succeed by itself.
Okay. And then I disagree. Some students forced to perform community service have enjoyed it so much that they subsequently actually volunteer to do something similar. In such cases, the policy can clearly be said to have fostered a habit of volunteering.
All right, so what's Paul's conclusion?
The last sentence? Or I disagree?
Yes.
I disagree. Okay, I disagree with, okay.
And I would say like the policy, yeah, like this is more like what his opinion is. Like I disagree.
Yeah.
This is what I think. All right, so what do Sarah and Paul disagree over? What's your prediction?
Whether the policy is, if it's voluntary or not, like.
I think like whether the policy can have success or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with A.
Okay. There are any circumstances under which an individual forced to perform a task can correctly be said to have genuinely volunteered to perform that task. Ooh, boy.
So what would Sarah say to this?
No.
And what would Paul say to this?
Yes.
I feel like Paul would, I don't know if we know what Paul thinks.
Yeah.
Because I would leave this one open, but I don't like it.
Okay.
Do we know if Paul thinks that these people forced to perform community service are actually volunteering?
No, because they're forced.
Right. I don't think we know that. I don't know if Paul would say that that is generally volunteering.
Okay.
I actually would probably cross this one off, to be
Okay.
honest. To be overly, I would rather cross them all off and come back to A than the other, than like be overly passive. All right. So what about B?
Being forced to perform community service can provide enjoyment to the individual who is forced to perform such service.
What would Sarah say to that?
No.
She would say that people that are forced to do something can't enjoy it.
Well, didn't she say there's no way? I thought that was Paul who said that. Sorry, I really don't understand this one at all. I'm really, I don't understand this.
So, does Sarah say anything about people enjoying something to perform community service?
No.
No. So since she doesn't say anything, we don't know what she would say to that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so since I don't know, we get to cross it off.
Okay.
Sorry, that was more so what I was getting at. Like if we don't know, like we get to be really critical and just cross it off.
Okay. So no. Okay.
So what about B?
Being forced to perform community service can by itself encourage a genuine habit of volunteering in those students who are forced to perform such service. I feel like Paul likes that one and Sarah does not.
Yes. So
Like,
Sarah would say,
I feel like that.
yeah, Sarah would say no, Paul would say yes.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you were, yeah, I got what you're saying there. All right, what about D?
It is possible for schools to develop policies that foster the habit of volunteering in their students. No, I don't think they're not talking about school policies, so I don't know what they would think.
Well, like schools see like what it's talking
Oh,
about,
oh,
schools are seeking to like foster this habit, but just because this specific policy, so I bet a lot of people pick D because they're like, oh yeah, Sarah would say no to this and Paul would say yes. But
yeah.
just because this policy doesn't work doesn't mean that Sarah thinks that it's not possible for the school to develop a different policy that could work.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not D.
Okay. Students who develop a habit of volunteering while in school are inclined to perform community service later in their lives. No, I have like they're not even talking about anything like that. Well, I guess a habit.
Yeah, I think they both would actually say yes
Yeah.
to this.
Okay. Yeah, they're talking about I guess maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's yeah, so it wouldn't be E
Yeah.
'cause we
I
would
could.
actually agree on that, and so our answer is
Yeah.
gonna be C.
Okay. Yeah. I